G'day guys, it's Sam Dane from Ardento here. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to have a look at a software application from Zoho called Route IQ. Now this is an extension for Zoho CRM, but it is a standalone application as well. It enables you to plan and plot out your visits, your routes, based upon your customers or your sales locations. It can integrate to various CRM modules, plots them on a map, allows you to optimally plan those visits and track so you can understand where your team is on these visits, how many they've completed, accuracy, and make sure that things are planned and coordinated in the best optimal way. So starting having a look at this is actually installed via the marketplace. I've got my demo Zoho CRM open here. Now, if I come to the marketplace, you can actually go have a look at integrations for Zoho integrations, and you'll find Route IQ for Zoho CRM as an extension there that you can install. Now, once you've installed that in the system, it's a pretty straightforward process, and you can get a trial as well. So there is costs associated with this extension, but if you want to try it out, it's a pretty safe install, no big deal. You will get a module added to your CRM called Route IQ, like you can see here. Now, when you first set it up, one of the first things you're going to need to do is to decide what modules in the CRM you want to integrate with. So I've already set mine up, and mine's just integrated to the accounts module. Of course, you can integrate it to more than one module or multiple modules and custom modules as well. You really just need to make sure that you can connect it to a module that has a structured address. Okay, so making sure that you have the ability to connect it to a specific address, field, whether it's a coordinate or an actual address. So once you've got that kind of set up, you can then begin to plan your routes and see these records on a live map. Again, I've just got my accounts module set up there. So once you've got that enabled, first of all, you'll be able to come straight to your map, your Route IQ map, and choose the module for which you've integrated with. So here we're going to have a look at accounts. I've got a demo system here. Some of my data is in the US, but let's just focus on Australia. So I'm going to zoom in. I've updated it so that a few accounts have the address here in my home city of Adelaide, South Australia. And you can see here that Zoho's done a great job of mapping out and giving me a little bit of information about the accounts that are on this map here. And I can click on each one of these, and of course I can see detail about that specific account, commercial press here, the address and so forth. And of course I can go ahead and find that directly in my CRM and interact with it like any other record. But that is ultimately how the accounts are being mapped is by their address. And here I've got just a collection of accounts listed on my map here. So immediately some value just by seeing those accounts. A couple of other things to be aware of. You can set up what's called a color view, which I really like as well. So over in the right hand side here, you've got color view. Here you can set up different colors based upon criteria. So I've got one set up in here, which is manufacturing. I can have a look at manufacturing accounts which are highlighted by a purple pin. And you can kind of set as many of these up as you need. You can put different criteria on them and assign them a different color. So if you've got certain fields in your CRM on the accounts module in this particular case, and you want to break up how those records are showing and show them in a different color, you can do that using the color view. So I think that's a pretty nifty feature that you can use straight away to sort of get a visual representation of those different types of criteria there. Of course, you can, select specific accounts directly by clicking on them, or you can use the list like I've got here. There is also a lasso feature. So if you say, okay, well, look, I'm going to go to the kind of the northeast of Adelaide today, and I can see that I can just do a lasso and select those here. That's highlighted those particular account records automatically using the lasso feature. So lots of different ways to be able to select and search your account records and start to understand, okay, well, where are they plotted on a map? What can I do with them? Things like that. So obviously that's part of the setup and part of understanding how things are selected and how you can use them and things like that. But really it comes down to being able to plan a visit of these particular accounts. So how as a team member, as a salesperson, as a technician, can I plan to visit specific customers in the most optimal way? And that starts by using routes. So under this menu here, I've now flicked it to routes. I don't have any routes set up in the system here, no upcoming routes. I mean, I can change this to look at just mine or my team's. Of course, I'm just logged in as me at the moment, so I'm only dealing with routes that are listed as me. But if you had other team members, you could see their routes as well. I'm going to start by creating a new route. What you can do here is it automatically gives it a name, but in this example, you can change it if you want to. I'm just going to leave it as its default, but this is where you would specify the name. You can also set up routes for other users by changing the user here. I'm logged in as just a user 1 in my demo system, so that's why you see that. Of course, you can set the time or schedule timing if you want to be strict. I'm going to leave it as flexible timing and put the start time as today. Now, a starting point, you've got, I've added work. You can kind of begin to add your own stops there. I can remove that and add a starting point. Of course, I can add more than one starting point, and some of these might be a home address, a work address, mark as a default as well. So you can set those up in the system. I've added our Adelaide office here as a starting point. And then it's just a matter of building out the different account locations that I want to search for. And you can start to search for the system here. So I'm going to start by just typing the name of an account. I'm adding these in the system here as we go. And I can see there that it's, plotted another, the account option there, and the duration is 30, and then I'm just adding that to the route. And then I can go ahead and add another stop if I want to, and I can just go more long associates and add that one into the mix as well. And really then I'm starting to build out the different options here, and then an end point, I'm going to say I want to be back at work, and you're adding these stops along, building out the route that you think you're going to take. So I'm going to hit create on that now. And so now we can see here that it is actually mapped out the route that I'm going to take. So it's decided that, we're going from my workplace, I'm going out here to Morlong Associates, and then I'm going down to King. A couple of interesting things you can do from this point, right? So you can do search along this route, which I like. So I can say, okay, well, what's along this route that might be relevant for this visit? And I can say, okay, well, show me accounts that might be nearby this particular route. And let's put those in there as well and make sure that, we're visiting those. So I'm going to add kind of both of these as well. So add Truller and Commercial Press. I'm going to add this to that route as well. And then we can see here that it's immediately reorganized all of these routes based upon the optimal route. So it's saying that going to Morlong's the best, and then going, in this particular order, and then I can click update. And at that point, now you have the updated flow. So once you update it, you've got these in the right order. Now it's saying, okay, going to Commercial Press out here is more economical than going to Morlong, then Truller. So it is actually going through the process of analyzing the route, analyzing the map, and making it the most optimal as possible. As you add more, go through the process, you can kind of see that in play and have those different options along your route as needed. So now I've got an upcoming route with a planned status. I can continue to add more routes. I can kind of view these routes, view the routes for my team, etc. And then I'm ready to kind of begin this. Now, this is ultimately where using the mobile app comes into play. So, I'll kind of pause this here, and then we'll go and have a look at the mobile app, see what it looks like there, see what happens with the check, and then we can come back and have a look at it from the CRM perspective. Okay, so now we have the app open. I'm launching that. You can see the route that we just planned there. We can see all the options and the stops that we've made that were set up from the CRM. And then essentially just tapping start. It will navigate to whatever Maps app you've got. So it's opened up Google Maps for me there if I want to sort of navigate in my car. Otherwise, once we're kind of on our way, we're about picking each stop, and then we've got the option to go through the check-in process, which check-in letting the system know that we arrived at our particular stop. Also, we have the meeting, and then there is the option to check out. But you can also do things like make calls from there. You can access the CRM directly. It'll open up your CRM app. You can see that I've got the meeting record related to my visit there. I can add notes, record information about my visit directly on my phone. So I'm sort of typing out a basic note here, saving that in my CRM against the account and meeting record that we're recording as a result of that. When I'm done, I can kind of tap done with that. I can access anything in my normal CRM app like I normally would, all set to go there. When I'm done, I can kind of exit. And then the final step in the process is to check out. So I'm checking out at that point, meaning I've completed my visit at that stop. And really, as a user now, I'm just moving through my RouteIQ app for each individual stop, checking in, recording notes as needed, checking out to complete the visit. I'm not going to complete every particular one here. I'm not going to check in or check out to every particular stop. I'm just going to end the route prematurely. Really, that's just letting you know that you haven't completed all the stops, but you can end the route. Maybe you didn't get to them all on that particular day. And then once you're done, you get a bit of a summary of the route that you did. I completed 50% of my stops, which ones I missed. Obviously, I can see any further upcoming routes for tomorrow, the next day, or later on in that day. I can even build out new routes directly from the app as well. Okay, so now that we've kind of seen how it works when using the mobile app, we're back into the Zoho CRM desktop application. We can see that that route that we had gone through and checked in is listed as kind of incomplete. You can kind of click on that, see what of the stops were missed, what ones were completed, the check-in time, all of that is kind of tracked for us. Of course, if the route was fully completed, you would see all that information in here. So that's live tracked against the CRM directly from the RouteIQ mobile app. So we can sort of see that kind of happen almost instantly as these are come across. So we've got these routes here. This one's listed as complete. And kind of the last kind of thing to have a look at is a few things around kind of the tracking. So obviously, if you want to be able to have a look at where people are in their specific visits, if you wanted to understand, okay, well, what visits a particular user had today or yesterday, you can review how many they completed, what ones were skipped or missed. So you've got good visibility of that. And of course, it's worth noting that really all of this just gets tracked back into the CRM as notes and as meeting records. So like you saw on the app, you had the ability to be able to see under activities there, the check-ins that had happened based upon the RouteIQ activities. And then if they're adding any adding notes directly into the CRM using the RouteIQ app, you can kind of see all of those notes coming through there as well. So great visibility both in the CRM and from the mobile app. Hopefully this has kind of given you a little bit of an idea about how you can use the RouteIQ platform. I think it integrates really easily with CRM, super easy to set up. A really great tool if you are any type of business that needs to be able to plot and understand where your customers or prospective customers are, track visits, manage those routes, and kind of book that out in a user-friendly and fast manner. Hope that was useful, guys. Chat soon.